Phew, I don't know about you, but 2019 has been kind of a crazy year for me. A lot of unexpected stuff has been happening. One thing I did not see coming was that I would become, like, the biggest Captain Marvel stan in the whole world. Before the movie came out, I was barely aware of the character and I didn't even really know who Brie Larson was. But now, I love the movie. I've seen it like 6 times. And I'm totally gay for Brie Larson. I mean, look at the GIFs. Look at the GIFs. Ah, she's magnificent. Even worse, I've spent a whole lot of time arguing about Captain Marvel with random people online. I mean, look at all these nerdy writings I've done. I'll post the links below so you can read them if you want. Although I'd be surprised if you actually wanted to hear me ramble for hours about Captain Marvel and why she's cool. But hey, the opportunity is there. I've literally spent hours of my life responding to all these criticisms about the movie. You know the ones. That Captain Marvel is arrogant, she's overpowered, and that she didn't change enough and is still kind of the same person at the end of the movie that she is at the beginning. And I mean, come on. Who ever heard of an arrogant superhero? Everyone knows audiences don't want to see superheroes who are arrogant, overconfident, full of themselves. That'll never be popular. The best superheroes are those that go around with eyes downcast, full of doubts and angst, worried that they'll never be good enough, that they can't save everyone. That's what audiences respond to. And everyone knows you can't make your heroes too powerful. You can't have them be so overwhelmingly strong that they just thrash the bad guys. People will hate that. They will boo it in the theater. They want to see a real fight. I mean, can you imagine having a hero who can just tap into this seemingly infinite reservoir of energy? Who can then fly around and just use that energy to cut through the enemy's armies like a hot knife through butter? That's so boring. Everyone will hate it. I mean, really, think about it. What if you were to introduce this character that not many people are familiar with and say that in 2016 he's just a surgeon, just a doctor, a normal guy, doesn't even believe in magic, but then by 2018 he's fighting on a hostile alien planet and going toe-to-toe with Thanos, the feared alien warlord, and he's using a dazzling array of majestic spells, utilizing all sorts of crazy energy, and he can see through time and bend the entire arc of the universe to his will? I mean, come on, that is God-tier-like power. I mean, you can't give a character that much power. It would be stupid and unrealistic, and you couldn't even have any kind of story with that sort of thing going on. Yeah, you see what I'm trying to do here. You know, if you want to do a fun mental exercise, just compare Captain Marvel to another superhero whose movie recently made $1 billion. Aquaman, the king of the dudes. Have you seen Aquaman? I like it. It's a fun movie. The next time you see it, just imagine that it's Aquawoman, and that Aquawoman is played by Brie Larson. Think of the whole plot of that movie. You have Aquawoman, Brie Larson, being superpowered since birth. Bullets don't hurt her, she can just shrug them off, she can lift a submarine out of the ocean. She's super powerful, just born with it. And she has a loving mentor and a really attractive member of the opposite sex who just follow her around throughout her entire life, telling her how great she is and how she's destined to rule everything. But the problem is, she's kind of a swaggering doofus. She almost gets killed being foolishly drawn into a fight with her evil sister, a fight she's not even remotely prepared for. Her overconfidence almost kills her and she has to be bailed out. But then she swaggers her way through a short quest, and at the end she's given this weapon, this ultimate weapon of supreme power. It makes her even more invincible than she already is. And then at the end of the movie she wins the final battle, and she wins everything, and she's just standing there, shooting lightning into the sky and laughing because she's achieved ultimate power. And everyone says, "Yay! Aquawoman is so great. Totally awesome." But even though she has all the power, she's still kind of a swaggering doofus, and people still love her. They say that's great. What a fun movie. You see what I mean when you look at it from that perspective? I don't remember anyone saying that about Aquaman, that he was too overconfident, too arrogant, too overpowered, and that he didn't change enough. They sure said it about Captain Marvel, though. And look, I do not want to be that guy who goes around calling things racist or sexist. It's just, I don't like doing it. It's not a good look for me. At this point in my life, I consider myself to be 70% edgelord with about 30% social justice warrior kind of uncomfortably grafted onto my body in a Frankenstein-like manner. I don't like saying things that sound like social justice warriors because it's just not me. It's not my style. And yet, sometimes I feel like I have to do it. I also don't want to be known as the guy who picks up dog shit, but when my dogs shit all over the yard, then I have to be a dog shit picker-upper, because the situation demands it. That's what I feel like now with Captain Marvel. Now, people hating on a fictional character is no big deal. We all do it. What's more messed up is people hating on the actress who plays the character, Brie Larson. You know who she is by now. If you talk to one of her haters, they're just like,
"What? We hate her because she said things about white male critics. Our hatred is entirely justified."
But if you really stop and think about it, it's kind of weird. I mean, imagine if the same thing happened to, like, Chris Pratt on the eve of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie coming out, back in 2014. That was the only other time that, in advance of a Marvel movie, people were writing articles about how it might fail or underperform. Of course, these articles were written out of concern that it might fail. The general public's not really familiar with these characters. And the movie's being led by who? That guy who was in Community or Parks and Recreation, I forget what show he was on. The fans were concerned that the MCU was about to have its first major stumble. But then the movie made a ton of money. I mean, I think it was like the highest grossing movie of the year it came out, 2014. And so there was nothing to worry about. But you know what I don't remember from that time? I don't remember some weird hate campaign being waged against Chris Pratt. If somebody wanted to do it, I'm sure they could have invented a reason. Like, what's a good reason for condemning Chris Pratt? Let's just pull something out of our ass here. Oh, he went on some radio show and he rapped out a bunch of Eminem lyrics. He rapped out Eminem's part to Forgot About Dre, the Dr. Dre song from 2001, The Chronic.
I don't give a fuck if it's dark or not. Harder than me trying to talk and dodge, but I'm drunk as fuck. Right next to a humongous truck in a two-car garage. Walking out with two broken legs, trying to walk it off. Well, fuck you too, bitch, call the cops. I'ma kill you when them loud-ass motherfucking barking dogs.
If he's rapping Eminem lyrics in public, that means he's a misogynist who hates women. Also, he goes to a church that doesn't really support gay people or something. There you go. There's your manufactured reason for hating Chris Pratt. He's a misogynist because of the Eminem lyrics, and he hates gays because of his church. So then you have about 10,000 fanboys screaming online that Chris Pratt's career needs to be destroyed, and Guardians of the Galaxy is gonna flop because everyone hates him.
Bring him down! Destroy Guardians of the Galaxy! Chris Pratt is a terrible person and no one likes working with him!
No such campaign existed. You didn't hear it, you didn't see it. Funny how that works. I'm not even going to point out that his character, Peter Quill, he's arrogant. He has some kind of inborn power because he's half celestial. And at the end of the movie, his character is kind of the same as at the beginning of the movie. He's a likable jackass. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all love the character. I just wish these fanboys would take a look at what they say about Brie Larson and wonder why they never felt the need to say it about Chris Pratt. I mean, Eminem lyrics, people. He's clearly a monster. You can take that one tiny thing he said that one time and just condemn his entire life for it. And who knows, if he lived in a world where the vast majority of movie critics were black women for whatever reason, he might even speak up and say, "Hey, I'd like to hear what other white guys think about my movie." We just can't comprehend the depths of his depravity.
I'ma kill you when them loud-ass motherfucking barking dogs.
And okay, I'm rambling, but my ultimate point is this. If Harvey Weinstein does not make you mad, but Brie Larson does make you mad, then you have no moral compass and you cannot distinguish right from wrong. You're an idiot and nobody should ever listen to you. Ever!
I don't know. I just don't understand hating on Brie Larson. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I'm a member of my generation. Generation X, the coolest generation. Everyone knows that the baby boomers are largely trash, and you millennials, you guys seem really uptight and hateful to me. Honestly, I just can't imagine me, like in college, when I was your age, sitting around with my friends in 1998, smoking weed, drinking beers, and a conversation like this arises.
Hey, did you hear what Angelina Jolie said? No, what'd she say? Huh? She said that like every director she's ever worked with has been a white male, and she'd like to see like more female directors and stuff, like in her industry.
What?
Man, that bitch.
Totally.
Yeah, what a bitch, man. I hate her.
She sucks.
Come on, guys. Let's go to this internet thing that was just invented like 3 years ago. We need to tell everyone to boycott Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider is gonna flop. I can tell, because Angelina Jolie's a dumb bitch and she hates white men.
Yeah.
That would be inconceivable back then. It would have never happened. I guess we were different. We were a little more chivalrous, I guess. And it's not because there wasn't activism in Hollywood. Hollywood's always been like that. People just didn't whine about it. Maybe this is just my perception, but it seems that there's a whole shitload of millennial dudes out there who just sit around all day smoking weed and dreaming about becoming a Twitch streamer so they can spout nonsense and play video games 16 hours a day and never get a real job. And they live in places like Kentucky and they're on meds for their social anxiety. And they just sit around and stream all day and smoke weed and play games. And to them, anyone or anything that succeeds is automatically corporate and bullshit. They say that because they're pretty certain that at this point in their life, they're never going to get a taste of any kind of success. Even going down the road to get a job at a gas station seems like an overwhelming, insurmountable task to them because that would take them away from their weed and video games. These sad sacks are out there, and they're the ones who are talking shit about Brie Larson. Meanwhile, Brie Larson's been out there working her ass off and getting to where she is through hard work and talent. And a little bit of luck, of course. Why not? When she was a teenager, she released this horrible, cringy pop album that completely failed. She did bit parts in a ton of movies. She was, what's her name? Envy in, Scott Pilgrim? I only saw that movie once, and it was a long time ago. I should go back and rewatch it. Then she was in a ton of indie movies. All these little tiny parts for very little money. I mean, look at this. Look at all the stuff she's been in. None of that was given to her. She had to fight for every one of those roles. Because she wasn't born rich. She's not a member of Hollywood royalty. It took her years to get where she was, and she almost gave up several times. Meanwhile, in interviews, she was saying that she would love to be in more nerdly movies. She wanted to be in, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, stuff like that. With Captain Marvel, she finally got her chance. I mean, look at this. As recently as 2018, she was starring in some... what is this? Some sort of horrible, direct-to-video piece of shit called Basmati Blues, where she plays a rice scientist, apparently, who falls in love with an Indian dude. What the fuck? What I'm saying is, she paid her dues, and she deserves every bit of her success. The next time you hear Jordan Peterson droning on about having a manly work ethic and standing up straight like a lobster, well, that's what Brie Larson did. That's the old-fashioned work ethic he's talking about. She's somebody that all of us poor nerds out here, we should be fucking rooting for her. We should be on her side. She is like the nerd waifu queen. She should be, anyway. But nah, you have all these fat sad sacks just sitting at their computers, and some YouTube video pops up that says,
"You should hate Brie Larson. She said things."
And they nod and say,
Yeah, I hate her. She hates white men, yeah.
Just think about that. Just look at that in perspective. Imagine if you were one of those people. Just imagine the smallness of you. The smallness and cowardice of you. Pathetic. Hell, even if she said something that I genuinely disagreed with, I still wouldn't hate her for it. Like if she came out and said that the Iraq War was a good idea, or that she's gonna vote for Trump. I'd say, well, that's sad, but move on. Again, that's my generation and our sense of coolness speaking. We just weren't programmed to hate like you millennial fucks.
Young men, listen to me. The moods of a beautiful woman, they are wild like the wind. One day she says she loves you, the next day she tries to slit your throat. This is the mystery of woman, you must accept it. For it is not easy to be a woman in a man's world. To understand that is to truly be a man. Do you understand?
I understand. I stand Brie Larson. When the trolls appear, so must a white knight. The way I was raised, you're not supposed to hate a beautiful actress unless she, smothered a kid or something. Or if she was the one at the Viper Room who told River Phoenix, hey, you should do all this heroin. Those would be about the only reasons to hate a beautiful woman like Brie Larson. While I was recording this weekend, I went and checked out some of her other movies. I watched Kong, Skull Island, which, is pretty okay. It's got her and Loki and Nick Fury in it, and the monsters are cool. I also watched Room, the one that she won the Oscar for. That is a beautiful, poetic, harrowing movie that I will probably never watch again because damn, does it hurt to watch. Oh. In the end, I don't hate Brie Larson. I like her, and you should too. No, she's never gonna sleep with either of us, but that doesn't matter. The only thing I don't like about Brie Larson is her stage name. Brie Larson. When I hear the word Brie, I think about smelly cheese. When I hear the word Larson, I think about Gary Larson, the guy who drew The Far Side all those years ago. Her real name is Brianna Sidoni de Saulnier. That's a fucking awesome name right there.
What the
the shit? That's the coolest name ever!
I just wonder, why didn't she go by Sidonie de Saulnier? Just the sound of that. Sidonie de Saulnier. I mean, that's beautiful. That's like cellar door. That's like poetry. Why didn't you go with that name, Brie Larson? Why are you so stupid? Nah, it's fine.
Brie Larson, we have no choice but to stand. Stand!
この子たちをお願いね。
ちょっとあんた何言ってんのか全然。
キャプテン・マーベルよ。よろしくね。